what are the pros and cons of homeschooling? I have a lot of friends that are doing homeschooling right now. Pat's kids are in private school. I went to public school my whole life, and then at the end of high school, I went to private school. I've done it all. The last thing that I ever wanted to do in my life was be home with my parents and learn from my parents. Like, homeschooling was not an option for me.
Yeah.
So what are the pros and cons that you're seeing for being a homeschool?
So let me say this. My relationship with my teenagers is amazing. Okay? You want a good relationship with your children? Do not send them away from you for 8 hours a day. Do not do that.
No.
Zero do that.
No. Okay.
Oh, just with my parents, I do it.
No, I'm in the
for 1
definitely
year.
can't.
Oh my
on.
God.
You guys can't comment because your waters were tainted when you were sent to school. Okay, the school got between you and your parents. The school presented.
I don't know about all that.
My parents just really freaking high strung. There was a period when I was 19 where I was homeless for a month, and I thought, man, this sucked, but it's not as bad to live with mom and dad.
You can't say because
I'm with him on that.
You can't say because you don't have the experience of not having the school come between you and your parents. The thing that when you drop your child off at school, you are tacitly telling the child, I abdicate my responsibility. I cannot be responsible. The school is responsible. The school has authority. My authority is now challenged inside my own home. Inside my own home. The moment that the school disagrees with whatever, you lose.
That's part of life.
No, it's not. I disagree.
You're wrong.
My teenagers have never rebelled.
Your teenagers.
I feel it's ideal for you to want to keep your child at home when the child is really young. So you can spend more time with the child and talk to the child and grow with the child and learn with the child and stuff like that. Now, I would say the main reason why people really send kids to school is mainly because they're working 9 to 5 and they have no choice. They can't take care of the child. So I do understand that, but I don't think it's ideal. So yeah, let's keep watching.
Have to follow a different set of rules depending on what environment they're in. If they go to a friend's house, that friend's house might have a different set of rules that they have to play.
Not if they challenge my rules.
If you're, let's say that, I don't know if this is the case for you, but if your house, let's say you guys wear shoes in your house because you do that and you don't care, and if they go to another friend's house and then their house, the rule is no shoes in the house, they can't challenge. I mean, they could challenge that
The
parent's
rule
authority, but
is
it would
respect, right? The rule
okay,
is
but if you're going
respect.
to make it that broad, then you can say the same for school. You respect what your teacher tells you. Right?
My point is the teacher sets up this conundrum inside the child. So daddy is authority, except that now the teacher is the authority, and daddy told me that the teacher's the authority, so now I trust the teacher. And by the way, as we know, and I don't know what private school, but we know in public schools there's a lot of challenge to parental rights and parental authority, and that sets up a huge conundrum for the child. That's child abuse.
But can you just go back to my initial question?
Yes.
Obviously, you're going to be an advocate of homeschooling. We're not trying to sway your opinion.
I don't say homeschooling anymore because school is child abuse. The whole
Well,
idea.
you've got a whole far-right
idea-
directive on this. But let's go back to the question. What's the pro?
No, that's not a far right take. The school is a prison. It's kind of like a prison. You have only certain time to be free to move around. You penalize if you come late. You're not allowed to leave the premise until a certain amount of time. The food is horrible. It's comparable to prison food. Yeah, I don't know. You have very specific time for sports. You're not allowed to speak in class. Too many rules. It's kind of like a prison. So I do get what she's saying, but yeah, a lot of people won't understand that. A lot of people have kind of forgotten how school was like for them. I think that's what it is. They've forgotten.
Pros and cons of home
learning.
education.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are the pros and cons?
Okay,
Give me maybe the top 3 pros and maybe some cons, if you would.
The founders of the nation, geniuses, right?
Sure.
Geniuses. They created this. This is the greatest leap in prosperity the world has
forefathers
ever
were
seen.
total G's,
Right?
100%.
Never went to school.
Top G is one might say.
Top G's.
Never went to school.
Yes.
What?
Well, as you said, there were no schools
were no
back then.
schools.
Hold
They
on,
never
I
went
just
to
want a quick fact check for the audience. So if people start looking up Benjamin Franklin, George, all these people, none of these people were educated in any institution outside the home? There were no tutors brought in outside. There were no teachers anywhere. They didn't go to any sort of class.
But that's not the question. The question is, did they go to school? They didn't go to school.
Okay, but
K through 12,
were they
you're saying.
educated by their parents at home, like a homeschooler would do today?
Perhaps.
Well, you're the one making the claim. Is that true that they were educated?
All I'm saying is we didn't have schools, so they didn't go to school.
But go on with your point. Fair enough. We're going for pros and cons of homeschooling. I'm trying to get this answer.
So my point is the freedom model, right, created this.
Got it.
Benjamin Franklin, do you know what he did?
He did a lot of stuff.
Everything.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. But what our system does is it pigeonholes the child and it says you need to do this or you need to do that. You need to choose. You can't do both. It also says don't try. That's one of the paradigms in school because failure's bad.
Okay.
Failure is bad. What's the key to entrepreneurship?
Try again.
You fail.
Yeah, of course.
You fail and you get back up and you try again.
All right.
But the school paradigm is failure's bad. That red F on a white sheet of paper, that's bad. So don't try. That's the subtext. That's the underlying message.
Or one might say, don't try, so don't fail. Okay.
Yeah, how do you get A's if you don't try?
But keep going.
You're right about that in a way. School does kind of punishes you when you fail, which I don't know. I feel like it trains you to not try a lot of things. It limits your mind in a way. Not just the way they punish you for not for failing. they also limit you. Like they teach you certain amount of things, certain things, and it's kind of like, oh, you need to do these things if you want to be successful. You need to do these things and then get to the stage, and then to go through the stage, go through the next stage, then maybe become a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer, and that's the only way you can succeed. But like a lot of people are succeeding without going through those stages, and yeah, I don't know. I feel like letting the child just discover himself, and it's a better way. Yeah, let the child discover himself and or herself, and just be there to guide the child when it's needed. And if let's say there's a need for the child to like specialize in certain things, when you notice that, you can easily like, oh, the child's interested in dancing, send them to dance class. Interested in singing, send them to a singing class. Struggles in sports, take them to a place where they can play sports. I don't know, that easy.
Keep going.
Okay.
Well, I'm looking for pros and cons here, just to be
Okay.
a
So
friendly
the pros are the family relationship.
Sure.
That's a huge pro. The freedom that the child has to pursue his innate giftings, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot of freedom built in. There's a lot less time spent on quote education. And let's just talk about academics for a little bit, because the school focused very much on academics. So we believe that education is academic, right? I mean, when you define education, how do you define education?
It's a very broad word.
Well, your child goes to school to what end? What does
learning.
Well, they go
Learning
to
what?
school to learn things, but generally to prepare them to exist in the world. It's probably a functioning unit of the
But
economy.
one of the criticisms that you had of school is it doesn't prepare them, because it doesn't teach home ec. It doesn't
Hold on.
teach
I didn't
life
say it didn't
skills.
prepare them, period. It prepares you for the future job, hopefully, that you hold, and it kind of rounds you out of the person you learn other things.
Do you know that school today, that the jobs that the schools are preparing children for are going to be gone in the next 15 years? That
No.
if like
I don't. I think if you
50%
go to
of the
school,
jobs
no.
that are being created, that will be created in the next 15 years, the schools aren't preparing children.
That might be true.
Yeah, the school doesn't prepare you for anything, literally. Like, not just that the primary and secondary school doesn't prepare you to socialize. Yeah. I studied architecture in school, and this is like a professional course. Oh, you study architecture, you'll be a good architect, blah, 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 blah. When I was done with school, yeah, I had to learn everything afresh. Like, I had to learn how to use software, I had to learn how to negotiate with clients, I had to learn how to negotiate with suppliers, I had to learn the whole thing afresh. And these are things that one would think you would learn in school, but it turns out anyway, and I spent a lot of time in school, like spending 5 years in school just to come out and have to learn afresh. Yeah, it's not an ideal model, I would say. And it's not just the 5 years I spent in uni. We're talking about the remaining 10 plus years I spent in, elementary school and all of that. So, yeah, the whole model is, it's just not efficient, I would say. I think that's the best way to put this. It's just not efficient.
Questions would be, one is, what do you want to cut from instruction? Because it sounded like you were saying 8 hours is way too much. You could do it in way less.
Yeah.
And then two, what is the daily amount of instruction you think you need? Like how many hours a day or 30 minutes? How long do you think you need to spend it?
Okay, so I home educated and I actually homeschooled, so I'm culpable here, right? This is
Home educated,
but
Sam.
no, I homeschooled. I schooled them, okay? Because I bought into the whole paradigm, and I thought school was education. So for several years, I homeschooled my children until I figured out that the freedom model is a much better model, and the school model is a failed paradigm, right? Because I felt inadequate. I went to Duke University. I speak 5 languages. I felt completely inadequate to educate my own children.
Just to refocus, I want to know,
Right?
how long do you
Okay.
think the instruction will be, and what do you want to
So
cut from the
I
instruction?
spent roughly 3 hours at the kitchen table with my young children every day, all 3 of them, 3 hours. The rest of the day, they pursued instruction. The rest of the day, a few more hours during the day, they pursued instruction, but they didn't need direct instruction from me. They didn't even need me for those 3 hours. I just chose to be at the kitchen table available to them, getting my work done because I worked full time. I wrote a book and I also did 3 hours of radio every day. So I was also working. And then one day a week we had when they were very young, we didn't do the co-op. Then we started doing the co-op, and when my son entered 7th grade, actually before then, when they were 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, we did a full day of co-op. So that was from 9 o'clock in the morning until 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay.
And I spent the day with them there.
You said, how old do your 3 children now? About, if you mind saying?
21, 18, and 17.
Gotcha. Did any of them, or are any of them going to college?
No, not yet.
Do you know what, so the 21-year-old does TikTok?
He does TikTok and he does social media for people, and he's an actor.
And do you know what the 2 younger ones want to do?
So my second seems to like engineering, but he's questioning whether college is the way to get to the cutting edge of engineering. So he's exploring his options right now.
So what is your metric for success for homeschooling your children?
Their happiness.
That can't be the answer.
I believe happiness is being fulfilled in life, being content in life, being happy, being satisfied. Yeah, that's far better than money. Money.
No,
No. If I let my kid run around for 8 hours a day until he's 18,
Oh, no,
he'd
no,
be
no.
very happy.
No.
But that can't be the answer for
Education
was
should be
successful.
the pursuit of truth, beauty, and goodness. So as long as I've equipped them to pursue truth, beauty, and goodness, then I know that they are well grounded.
Okay, so my mind is completely business wired. So I'm thinking like KPIs, like key performance indicators. So if I educated my child from K through 12 in my home, one marker for success for me, I would think that if he performs well on like the ACT or the SAT, okay, I've done a good job educating him. Or if he goes to college and he's very successful,
Right.
Or if he maybe gets a good job, like a traditional job. Now, if they do non-traditional work, that's cool, but I don't know how much of a bearing that is on like how well I educated him, right? So like I could probably set my kid up to be decently successful on YouTube just because I am. If we started doing videos together, but I don't know if that's like if that's showing that like I educated him well, or I'm just like kind of letting him piggyback off my career. So I'm curious in terms of like how do you mark that you were successful or that your children had a positive experience doing the home learning thing as compared to a contemporary, as compared to somebody else at the same age.
Yeah, she's right about that. Like, the only reason why your kids have to be in school from morning to evening is because you're working 9 to 5 and you need a babysitter for the job. That's basically what you're paying for. And they're overcharging you because they claim to be teaching the child some other things. They aren't teaching the child anything. They're just putting the child in prison like those and whipping them, punishing them, stuff like that. And trying to get them to do what they don't want to do, which is a very sick paradigm.
So to me, a marker of success is that my child can teach himself and is not afraid to learn. So my children will teach themselves anything that they need to know, and they're not afraid to go try to figure out how to learn it.
But if I ask, like, what is like
the other thing
level
is that they're all entrepreneurial spirits, and so they understand how business works, because that I think is something that we ought to be teaching our children.
Sure.
How business works. In fact, my son is a lot brighter than I am with regards to that.
I think
So-
that's one of the more powerful things that you said is the entrepreneurial free thinking spirit.
Well, but
because that is not taught in
no, that's
school.
but that's not
okay.
like
I went to high school and I had my drama class because I really liked drama and I really wanted to be an actress. And everybody at the high school, literally, like everybody at the high school said, you can't be an actress because nobody ever succeeds. And frankly, the gal who taught acting, pretty girl, had spent a bunch of time in New York, clearly had not succeeded because she was teaching high school drama in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So of course her paradigm was nobody succeeds because she didn't succeed. So just because your parent doesn't know how to get you somewhere doesn't mean that the school does. And in fact, there are plenty of people in schools that dissuade children, like I was dissuaded, from pursuing acting, which is why I ended up at Duke University and then had debt because I was studying something that I eventually didn't do. But the other thing that I just have to say, we live in a culture right now that believes in the school model. Because why? We all went to school, so we were all brainwashed into the school model. So your very definition of education is, well, you have to perform well on a test. That is not the true definition of education. And the idea that it's a terrible burden to have to be enslaved to your child, I will say this. We also live in a culture that our schools have taught us that sacrifice is the ultimate evil, that you should never sacrifice anything because you can have it all. And that's a lie from the pit of hell. And the fact is that sacrifice is the highest good. And the only reason that our culture has survived and that this nation has been created is because they understood that the free exchange, the free sacrifice of self for something greater than is the greatest good that we can have. And it's the basis of our economy. It's the basis of capitalism. It's the basis of growth. And frankly, it's the basis of family. So when you have a family, you learn that you sacrifice for your family because in the sacrifice, your true value comes out.
And that's
you build
great.
your value.
That's great.
Like, because you're homeschooling child doesn't mean you're gonna have to have textbooks and everything, like teach the whole schooling nonsense, write an essay, further math and all that. All you just need to do is, okay, maybe you want to try to learn a couple languages. If you need a tutor, bring a tutor. If you can't join an online class, many ways to try to learn language and teach a child basic math, simple addition, multiplication, board math. I think that's just that's the only important mathematics, to be honest. Every other thing is just jargon, really. Yeah, like all other math outside of board math is totally irrelevant. And then basic chores and stuff like that. And then the child can, after the child done doing chores and every other thing that's necessary to be done in the house, the child can now go about and pursue whatever they want to do. Maybe they want to play, they want to learn stuff on YouTube or whatever. And these are more efficient ways of learning than having to be in class and being taught civic education and social studies and whatever. I don't know. I'm just saying. Yeah, I said this, yeah. Money isn't the goal yet. Like, as long as the child is satisfied, happy, comfortable, yeah, you're successful. You've been successful. Like, being a billionaire or a millionaire is, I don't know, these are just arbitrary numbers. They mean nothing. If the child can afford what he needs, he's already satisfied, he's happy, he makes enough, he's comfortable, that is success. If you have a job here that takes up your whole day, that you need to be physically present in an environment for the whole day, and you don't have anybody that can look after the child when child at home, yeah, you can't homeschool. But if you're already in an environment where a job gives you a lot more free time, where you can literally just stay at home with the child Or let's say you're with someone where, let's say you work an hour a day and the other person works like another hour. You know, I don't know whatever situation you're in. Like you're in a family where there's some people at home when others go out to work and stuff like that. Yeah, you can have a child at home. But if it's a situation where you just don't have that luxury of time to be able to be with the child, yeah, you can't. Which is fine, you know. But stop making it sound like the school is the ideal scenario. The ideal scenario is for a child to grow up at home, you know,